Welcome back. We're officially more than 2 months in to my 2-day re-restoration of my 1915 Massey steam hammer. In the last episode, we made some brand new cast iron piston rings to replace the broken ones, and turns out we've got to throw them in the scrap bin because they're meant to be steel. So today, I need to urgently run to town, find some steel, and we've got to figure out a process for making steel piston rings.
What are the odds?
176 on the OD, 153 on the ID.
Go on! We're away.
I just had a bloody fantastic customer service experience. They've got better things to be doing. They're selling frickin', you know, how many tons of steel a day. And I rock into the office saying, I've got a problem. Oh, what steel do you need? It blooming depends. I could get a big bit of round bar and I could forge it into a ring. I could get a massive chunk of round bar and we could turn it down. And he goes, right, high-vis jacket, let's go. And we go hunting around. And this is the result of our little expedition. And could it be more perfect? Look how close we are. Thank you to the chaps at Optima for the good service. Now, all the information about making piston rings is about making cast iron piston rings, because that's what you find in a steam locomotive. That's what model steam enthusiasts are making piston rings out of. But I can find almost no info about making steel piston rings. It's likely that the original ones that we have would have been rolled from square bar, but doing that precision rolling is not something that I've got the capability for, and so we're going to be turning them from this tube. The question is, how do we get the ring gap correct? How do we get the spring tension right? I don't know. We're going to have to figure out the process. Time has passed. Let's see. Learn about coefficient of thermal expansion today. Oh, let's go! Not hot enough. Quick, get it off. Ah! Or put it on. I'll just put it on. So the idea here is we turned a mandrel that's a little bit proud. We heated up the ring. We shrink it onto the mandrel, which is hopefully going to put a lot of radial kind of hoop stresses on that ring. We're going to turn the OD, then we'll split it, and it'll hopefully pop open. That's the theory. We'll see if it works. We're going to turn the OD to final bore size. Booyah, 168.42. Now we've got to cut it, and we've got to see, does it doink? It did not go poppity pop. Yes, that did not provide us enough stresses to stretch it open as much as required. You see, the gap in its free state wants to be like that. It only expanded it a little bit. I think we're gonna have to try and borrow some of the cast iron ring making techniques. And so what we're gonna do to test that is as follows. So just as a proof of concept, let's see if using a little bit of heat, we can get it to stay in a new openly sprung position. Bringing the oven up to about 500 Celsius. Time has passed. Ooh, you're very hot. Ooh, hello. In an ideal world, what happens when I take that nut off is it doesn't spring back to almost touching. That's like half an ideal world. By heating it in that stretched open position, it did retain some of the stretchiness. Oh, no way. Actually, ignoring the way the cut is done, it's about as open as the original. Hello. Look at that. And the diameter in this new free state is almost identical. This means, oh, hello. This should now fit in the bore. Yes. Guys, we can use the same methodology as cast iron piston rings on S355 piston rings. That's not good. Well, good thing is, we definitely know this piston ring material is quite ductile. Does Does this feel a bit like a deja vu, guys? There are my 4 machined piston rings, ready for splitting. The reason that we need to split them is because we'll precisely machine the outside diameter of the rings to be the same as the bore. But in that closed state, we need them to be applying an outwards pressure on the inside of the bore of the cylinder. And that's what's gonna get us a seal. Not the beach type, not the author type, but the pressure holding one. Yesterday, we found out that some of the cast iron techniques work on steel, which means that from here on out, barring one little change to get this steel performing like we want it, we are borrowing all of the following techniques from the great Mr. Crispin, a phenomenal YouTuber engineer who has produced some fantastic material on making piston rings. This is what we need. We need a tapered mandrel, a top to grip the rings down. Once the rings are split, they will slip over the tapered mandrel, be held in place, ready for us to heat treat them. And so what I went ahead and did is I made up a flange, welded the flange in our big bit of pipe, a bit wider so they don't see too much of the nastiness. Come on, these were quick welds. And this is what's gonna be the top, holding the rings in place during heat treat. Oof. Oi, stop filming that! Into the lathe we go! Good thing about putting this flange in place is it'll also give it a little extra rigidity. Stay. Facing it off. Turning the OD. Oh, that's not healthy. That's not professional looking! What a noob. Can't even get his feeds and speeds to break a chip. Proof of concept in plastic, piston rings stretch over, lid goes on top, bolt screws it all down. Let's saw our rings. That went smoothly. We got our rings split, and I didn't break a single blade. I broke 8. Now we can slip our rings over the mandrel. Oh, that's a bit tight. Feels a lot better knowing these rings are steel and not cast iron. This would have been terrifying at cast iron. Terrifying. Ta-da! So now this face is gonna clamp all of the rings, we hope, with the help of this screw. Time to find out if this works. I'm curious about how this is gonna go, because we're gonna take this a step further than just how a cast iron would be treated. When I tested our original rings, they came out as being 25 Rockwell C. I tested just the regular old S355, and it like barely registered on the Rockwell C scale. I then took the one that we made up yesterday, heated up to 800 Celsius, quenched it in water, even though there's only about 0.25% carbon in S355 steel, it still hardened it up a little bit, got it to 25 Rockwell C. So I'm not just gonna heat these things up to 500 Celsius and then let them slow cool. We're gonna heat them up to 800 Celsius, quench them in water. That is why we have some holes in our flanges so that the water can circulate through and cool this whole lot down as quickly as possible, hardening as best as we can these S355 rings, just giving that material that little extra gabagoo to hopefully do the job. Now my hope was that on the diagonal it would fit. I thought this might be an issue. You know, it was one of those issues where I was like, okay, I'll put that in the back of my mind and I'll not think about that because I got more pertinent issues. Burn that bridge when we get there type of thing, as Will Stelter would say. So, to the forge. One of my big concerns is that as this heats up, obviously everything is expanding. I want to keep the pressure on those parts from the screw, that 16mm bolt. I don't know enough about thermodynamics and thermal expansion of steel to say how this is going to go, but I'm worried that the bolt is going to get longer and the parts are going to get rattly. Slide it in the forge now. It's going to stay in there until we've got a really nice, even cherry red. While that heats up, despite all of the stress that this is giving me, this is exactly what I dreamed about doing when I was a boy and I set out working for myself as a blacksmith. Figuring out along the way how I was going to make a living and do the things I really dreamt of doing. Making fun things in the workshop, playing with beautiful equipment, and it wouldn't have been possible if I hadn't have found Squarespace to sell my tools and sell my classes way back when in like 2015, 11 years ago. And I've been a fan of Squarespace ever since. They are the sponsor sponsor of this episode. And if you're gonna build a website, go to squarespace.com/forge. Use code FORGE at checkout. You can get a 2-week free trial and 10% off your purchases. I think that as a maker, it is so important to have a beautiful website that showcases your products in the light that they deserve to be showcased. And thanks to Squarespace's countless drag and drop themes, you can find an aesthetic to complement your work. And you don't need to know how to code to build a beautiful website. It is so simple. It's a one-stop shop. You can buy your domain there too, sell your time with Squarespace scheduling, even run your email marketing campaigns there too. It is so good, and I really hope that you give it a try. Again, at squarespace.com/forge. Code FORGE at checkout gets you 10% off your purchases. That includes your domain. It's fantastic. Let's take this part out of the forge. Oh, it looks good!
Checking your heart rate.
Oh, it's fine. It's not going to crack. It's not like a quench on a big old sword where you're dealing with a really high carbon material, big long profile. Here, everything is sandwiched together, hopefully sandwiched together tight. It's low carbon. We're not going to have any cracking issues, and hopefully not have any warping issues either because of the sandwich. What, you're worried about the warping? Oh, look at that one. Talk about warps. That wasn't there. That was flush. It's not flush anymore. How cool is this? We cracked the tack welds in that quench. What was it I was saying about low carbon not cracking? Right, so it does look like we got a warp. My confidence and joy was short-lived, but we made 4 so that one could fail. Right, so that, ooh. If the others are like that, we're not gonna have the appropriate ring gap. And if we don't have enough ring gap, we're gonna have to do it all over again. Bugger! That will surely be too little gap. So 2 of them have an identical ring gap. One of them somehow has a shorter one, and we don't even talk about the first scrap one, but all less than I was planning for. There are ways of solving this. Well, that sounds way too confident. No, I mean, basically, what we're gonna have to do, we are going to slip them all onto the mandrel, and then we are gonna make a spacer that's gonna hold it extra wide on each individual one, and we'll clamp it down in that position. Take the opportunity to hardness test the scrap ring. Ta-da! 21.5 Rockwell C. That one, 27 Rockwell C. The quench at least got the hardness I wanted. 1 spacer, 2 spacer, 3 spacer, 4 spacer. Is it all going to go ping when we pull these rods out? Got it! Oh my gosh. Yeah, see, that's what I was hoping wouldn't happen. Stay. Happy days. It's still, all the bits are in there. Oh. -1. Stay. Oh! That tells us that a grade 12.9 bolt is indeed made out of hardenable steel, because it's so fragile that I just busted it. Hopefully the friction of this plate is going to hold these things spread out. I want to do less moving around this time, because I don't want the pins to fall out. So I'm just going to set it in the forge with the forge off for it to slowly come up to temperature, then we'll turn the forge on. All right, take 2. Fingers crossed. Oh, yoy! That ain't good. These ones got all sorts of warped. This just went crazy. Clearly it was a 1 in 4 chance of disaster in the previous setup, but in this go, not relying on the mandrel to provide the size, but the clamping force obviously wasn't enough, because they went crazy. I think every single one of them is too warped to use. Maybe I'm gonna have to sacrifice my hopes and dreams of getting a matching 25 Rockwell C piston ring, and maybe we're gonna have to do this without hardening them. Reject. Probably a reject. Definitely a reject. Absolute reject. Here is the plan. I'm going to do the exact same thing that I did yesterday, and I'll see you in a minute. And by a minute, I mean I'll see you in 8 hours. And here we are, about 8 hours have passed, and I'm exactly where I was 24 hours previous, apart from the fact that this time, instead of 4 piston rings to mess up, we've got 8. We are not leaving the workshop until we have some success. Here's what I've done differently this time. You will note we have square cuts on our piston rings. John at Massey kindly told me that all the piston rings on the front cylinders of hammers have square cuts. 2, I have made a new mandrel that is wider than our first. Our first was 162.3. We wanted a 21mm gap as it sits on the mandrel, and so I turned this to 163.3. Only a 1mm difference in diameter is going to get us just that increase in gap to hopefully mean that when it then shrinks back in after the fact, we get our correct 16mm ring gap. I am feeling confident that by the end of the day, we're gonna have some success here, because part of the reason for making 8 piston rings is so that I can do 4 piston rings unhardened using our mandrel and new top plate. I'll just heat them up to 500 Celsius. It's a proven process because I did it 2 days ago on one individual piston ring. So how proven is it? But I'll do the first batch without hardening. We'll pull them off. Hopefully the ring gap is going to be perfect. Then we'll take the second batch and harden them. They'll hopefully be clamped really well and won't warp and bend, but will have the perfect ring gap. Hopefully we get to use the hardened ones, but if we can't, we'll have to accept unhardened rings, a little softer than the original. It unfortunately may be the way that we've got to go. And so with that, let's get to it. Oh. That is the ring gap I was aiming for. It's looking promising. You know what, just in case. Can you tell I don't want these to warp? To the forge! Well, I've got that preheating. You've just had a brilliant idea. Why don't we see if my cast iron rings would have even fit over the first mandrel without breaking. So this is the cast iron rings I machined, and this is the mandrel design for them. Would it have even fit? Oh, unbelievable, yeah. It would have, without breaking. Okay. Well, you know what? It almost would have felt better if it would have broken, because it would have made me go, oh, it's okay, I will have needed to do all this work anyway, because it wouldn't have worked in the first. But actually, it looks like the cast iron ring could have stretched enough to do the job. Moment of truth. Do we have the ring gap we want? Oh, it's a bit less than I was hoping. 14.5. I was really hoping for, 16? It's close. But given the increase in mandrel size, I was expecting better. Maybe better news is lurking beneath. It's even smaller! It's meant to be bigger, not smaller.
That's what she said.
Spent all day making a bigger blooming mandrel. 13.7. Not any bigger. I've got a plan, guys. I'm gonna put them back on the mandrel. I'm gonna heat them up hotter. This time, orange, maybe red. Then we'll let them cool, and then hopefully they'll have gotten bigger because they'll be more like stress relieved, okay? Yes, that is how it was meant to come off. That is exactly what I wanted to feel. I wanted to feel as little as possible, and that is it. Oh, at last. Read it out to me. What is it?
20.74.
Will anything ever work? All right, well, we found out that this technique, exactly how we did it, would work great on our first mandrel. Oh, golly. It's 10 o'clock at night. Well, better too tight than too loose, right? I'm not even gonna try and come up with some justifications for why this is fine. Right, now what we're gonna do, we're gonna take this set, we're gonna put these on the mandrel, and we're gonna harden these. We'll quench these in the morning. Good morning. Let's harden some piston rings. Come on, baby. Oh, how are we looking?
15.65.
Jackpot. That's it. 0.4 of a millimeters away from the ring gap I was hoping. We're in business. Oh, very close between these two. Oh yeah, we're in business. I'm happy to move forwards with these hardened rings. So now we need to skim the inside bore of the rings in this fixture that needs some modifications. That's sick. All right, so here is the plan. Again, all credit to Mr. Crispin. The diameter of this counterbore here on our fixture is the same diameter as our piston rings were before we split them and then stretched them. That means, with a little polish up here, we should be able to install. We should be able to install. We should be able to install. It does not look like we're going to be able to install it. What? It's touching itself there, which is stopping us from getting in there. Two options.
Give up?
No.
Buy some at pistonrings.com?
No.
Piston rings are us?
We buy any pistonrings.com?
Well, no, because they're buying the piston rings, not selling them.
We sell any pistonring.com?
Yeah, that could work.
What on earth is going on? This should not be happening.
I know what you've done.
What?
You've lathed twice and measured once, but it's the other way around.
Oh, what, meant to measure twice?
Yeah, lathe
once. Yep, good. Good observation there. Actually, I lathed 16 times and measured about 4,000 times. That's actually what happened, Jamie.
Well, clearly not.
Okay, I see what's happened. I'm just an idiot.
You can say that again.
I see what's happened. I'm just an idiot. Oh. All right. Oh, I can sense she's definitely not gonna go.
It's like that saying, isn't it?
What saying, Jamie? This is gonna be good, isn't it?
A bit of grit makes the machinist work I do not sh**. Bit of paint makes me the welder I ain't. Same kind of vibe.
I have said that one a number of times. The actual line is a grinder and paint makes me the welder I ain't. In this case, I think, Jamie, it would be a grinder and file makes me the machinist.
In denial.
Grinder and file makes me a machinist in denial. Yes! We're in business. Woo! So the ring itself is a little bit proud of our flange, so hopefully we can clamp it down. And now, one at a time, I can put the rings inside and I can bore the inside diameter to its final permanent size in that closed state. And that needs to be 157.12 millimeters. Oh, it's looking good! Bingo! 157.12. We're in business. Okay, I turned the ID on 8 of them. That is the 4 hardened rings as well as the 4 unhardened rings. The reason for that is 2 of the hardened rings had a warp that just wouldn't conform very well to being placed inside that mandrel, and it makes a little flat spot here. I will say the unhardened rings were all much nicer to work with, and when sprung into this fixture, they retook that original form really well. And so, now, even though in the open state, it is definitely not a circle in the middle. When they are closed shut, it is their final inner diameter. We need to do the same to the outside. We need to get the final outer diameter in their sprung closed state. And here's what I need to do that. I need 1 sleeve, I need 1 end cap, and I need 1 mandrel. In principle, it's all quite similar to how we heat treated it. It's just that instead of taking the mandrel out of the lathe, once we've got the mandrel, and that needs to be the last thing I make, it stays in the lathe, and we're gonna use it to turn that OD. And so here is the graveyard of fixtures that were required to get us ready for this final moment. It is now time. The fixtures that I have made are 1 clamp with a bore that is the current outer diameter when they're in the closed state. And over here, most important part, a mandrel of the final inside diameter of the piston rings in their closed state, and then a top cap to lock them in place on that mandrel. To reiterate, with the inside of these rings bored to final size, it's now time to turn the outside to their final dimension, but final dimension in closed state. It all comes down to this. It is currently 5 p.m. on Friday. I thought these piston rings were going to be done on Thursday evening last week, and here we are. Let's load some piston rings in our sleeve. As you will see, our sleeve has a little lead-in taper, so hopefully these things slot in really easily. Oh, yes. Oh, fabulous. Oh, I'm getting excited now. Now that these are loaded in the sleeve, this hopefully, we should be able to load them on this mandrel. Oh, yes. No! How about using the tool that's literally designed to push these into place? Crank it. In principle, I should now be able to release my sleeve. They have now stayed compressed. Come on. So long as they don't move, we're in business. Booyah! Ooh, it's beautiful. The way that cut is looking, we're definitely getting 2 rings. It's gorgeous. The rings on the left are completely cleaned up. The rings on the right, however, are like almost, maybe like 70% cleaned up. They might make it. We might not need to dip into the unhardened reserve. Okay, this is, I think, my final pass. I've got a really slow feed on the tool. Hopefully we hit our number exactly. Please bless it. Good luck. 168.43, which is exactly what the DRO reads, and is 10 microns larger than we need to be. That's 1/2 thousandths of an inch. One more skim pass, it should be done. Jackpot, provided I measured the bore properly. Let's not have negative energy here. Off she comes. Oh, that's satisfying. Oh, do we have 3 complete piston rings? We know that the first 2 are good. That one on the right is definitely a scrapper. Oh no, we have 2 that did not get the OD successfully skimmed. 2, however, that are perfect in principle. That does mean we've got to dip into our unhardened batch. But before I do that, let's make sure that they actually go in the bore of the cylinder of my machine. Make sure I don't have to make any last-minute adjustments. First up, the original. That's how she sits. That is not textbook, he says. He doesn't know his own gap yet. Now my piston ring. Oh boy. It doesn't fit. How is that possible? There's like a pretty good lead in as well, and I can't even get it down past there. Could there be a burr? Oh gosh. No. That will not fit in there. Let's try the other one. Oh. No, other one. It doesn't fit. My blooming rings don't fit! Plan of attack. I've got a plan of attack. There's a chance we ruin these 4 rings, or the 2 good ones, but I'm going to try, put them back in the lathe, clamp them up, hopefully indicate them so that they're dead nuts again, and then take off another 1/1000th of an inch or so, take them back out, put them back in the bore, and see if that gets them to fit. First ring. Yes. Yes. Yes! Oh, thank goodness it works! That's a much nicer ring gap. And it feels like it's got the pressure it should have. It feels smooth. Second one is a bit tighter feeling. Why? You literally made the exact same way. Oh, how is this possible? It is meant to be identical, although we did notice that the hardened rings were warping more. Okay, the first one goes, the second one doesn't. That makes no sense. Since this is so close to fitting, there's no way I can put that back in the lathe and return the outsides. But what I can do is increase the ring gap. File away a little bit, so there's a little bit more gap and it doesn't close up as easily. And by file away, when it's 7 o'clock on a Friday, I mean grind away. Oh, success. That is all it took. She now sits quite nicely in there. Oh my goodness. Oh. That is a relief. Now, one at a time, we'll see how much light gets through around the edges. Oh my goodness, I think we've done it. I don't see any light peeking through. Outstanding. And the other? Come on, please be good. Oh, crap. There is a hell of a gap there. I'll chuck a feeler gauge in there. Oh no, that is an absolute no-go. That's a 4th thou feeler gauge. How about an 8th thou feeler gauge? Oh, that is not good enough. I have one good hardened ring. That is just not good enough. I don't want to put that in the hammer. So that means we are gonna have to dip into our unhardened rings, and we need 2 good unhardened rings that fit perfectly in the bore with the right tension. And if we don't get that from that batch of 4, I've got to make a whole new set. But with that, that's all we've got time for today. I cannot wait to see you on the next episode. Be sure to build a website at squarespace.com/forge and use code FORGE at checkout. See you soon. Bye-bye.